Hello and welcome to another Xterra video where I work on my truck. Sometimes I'm successful, sometimes I'm not. And on today's video, as you guys can see, the truck is already flipped around, and that's because I'm gonna be working on my rear. I'm gonna be reinforcing, actually changing, improving, upgrading my leaf springs. When I was in the midst of swapping my rear axle, I also reinforced my leaf springs, my OEM old man leaf springs. I added another leaf to convert them from medium duty to heavy duty, which it did help me a little bit, but they are not completely flat, but they're somewhat on the way because my truck is very heavy. I actually went to a weight station to weigh it, how much it weighs, and it weighs 6,030 pounds with me and a passenger. So to do the right thing, I contacted Alcan Springs and I had a good conversation with them. We exchanged multiple emails. They asked me about my truck, how much it weighs, how much the rear axle, how much does the rear weighs, which is almost 3,000 pounds. So to make the long story short, I pulled the trigger and I ordered the Alcan leaf springs. And there we go, guys. After waiting about a month, actually maybe it was even less, I'm gonna check my emails when I placed an order. I added in a video how long it took for them to make it and deliver. They're here. They're specially designed for my vehicle because not only they included how much weight of this truck weighs, how much they're supposed to handle, they also included the 3-inch lift built into the leaf springs already. That way, on a shackle, I don't have to go on a top shackle. I can move it up, basically put it on the lower settings. That way, in the future, if I ever need to readjust my lift, I can also add 2 more inches from the shackle. I hope I'm making sense for you guys. But these leaf springs, they feel heavy. They feel heavy. They're about 65 pounds each, and as you can see, they're made in America, so that's good. So now, enough of me talking. I'm gonna start disassembling my truck and working on my rear. I'm gonna lift up the truck, remove both tires, and gonna start doing one side at a time. And yeah, this is pretty basic stuff. There is like 6 bolts to unbolt, 2 bolts holding the leaf springs on each end, and 4 bolts and 4 U-bolts holding it to the axle. So I'm gonna work on that, remove all of that, replace it, and then I'm gonna show you. I'm probably not even gonna record the whole procedure anyways, how hard it is to replace the leaf spring. So yeah, very excited to see that. Now also I'm gonna measure how much of a lift I have right now. So from the ground to the body panel over here, I'm about at 41.5. So I don't want the rear to be too much up in the air, so I would like to keep it somewhere about the same, maybe half inch higher. That's fine. And from the tire to the body is about 8 inches. So once I replace both leaf springs, I will check how it looks. Alright guys, so the tire is out, so now we have a clear access to all of our bolts, which we all have to do is just remove 6 bolts pretty much. I'm gonna remove the U-bolts first, then I'm gonna support it with a jack. I'm gonna remove this bolt, that way I can lower the leaf spring down. I'm gonna remove this bolt, then I can remove the whole leaf spring out and put a new one. Very simple. So now I'm just gonna support the axle with a jack. That way I can remove this and just lower the leaf spring down. Now I'm gonna take the bolt out and I can lower the leaf spring down. So one leaf spring is out, and just to compare how they look, how they feel, they both are actually heavy. I kind of forgot that this one was pretty heavy as well. But as you can see, they have a completely different design. This has a multiple leaf springs built in. This one is mostly like these 3 guys, because this one is the one I added. So originally it was just these 3, this one, and these guys, but this one is a completely different design. So now I'm gonna move this CJ shackle over here and start reassembling this side. So unfortunately, these bolts that it come with are too short, and they are cut over here very short. There's no way to put a spacer on this side, so I'm taking out my bolts and just putting the temporary bolt there, and I putting them over here so I can still use the shims. Otherwise this is not tall enough and it doesn't go to the hole. So maybe next time if somebody orders this, maybe you have to specify to make this one longer. And alright, this side is done, everything assembled. Like I said, I have to move the pin from my leaf pack to this one in order to accommodate for that pin to go inside the axle. So now I can work on my other side.
A few moments later.
So I was just trying to slide this leaf spring in place, and it slid and it fell right on my finger, crimped it pretty bad. Oh, that was painful. So if you have help, ask for help. This is better to do together or not to drop on your finger. So now I'm gonna try to continue assembling this. Cannot really move this finger. I put ice on it, held it for like 10 minutes, but too painful. But anyways, gotta try to finish because tomorrow it's gonna be already raining. It's getting dark, guys. It's getting late. I'm tired and hungry, and I dropped the leaf spring on my finger. That was not fun, but I'm almost done. I just need to torque all the bolts to spec now, make sure all of them are tight. Then I can put the tires on. And yeah, I think this is done. This is pretty much done. Looks, the leaf springs have so much curve to them, it's crazy. I hope my rear is not gonna be too high now. Alright guys, it's so late, it's so dark, but it's done. And even in the dark I can already see. I could not wait, and I really wanted to show you guys how high it sits now. I don't know if my calculations were correct, but I feel like it's a whole 3 inch higher now. Even though I moved my shackle over there on the lower settings so to have a less space in there, but it's so high up now. So tomorrow or the next day when it's not raining, we're gonna go over it. Alright guys, the installation is complete. It's actually been a few days since I did it, and I left the truck parked like that, so it sits much higher. I did not expect it to be that high, even though I put on the lowest setting of the shackle, so it doesn't give me that much of a lift. But as you can see guys, let's check this out. Now from the ground up I am at 44 inches, and from the tire up I'm at almost 10.5 inches. I already forgot what were the original numbers. I'm gonna add them to the video over here so we can check it, but this is much higher. Of course the leaf springs are new, so they will settle, so hopefully it's gonna be all right, and hopefully it's not that much of a difference between the rear and the front. I mean, I can tell that the rear is, the space in the wheel well is bigger than the front, but maybe it's not too bad. I don't really want to raise up the front too much as it is, so hopefully the rear will just settle a little bit more. But other than that, I'm pretty happy with everything. So now the only thing left is to do is just to take it for a test drive, to see, to feel how it drives now, and just to make sure that it's all working properly.
2,000 years later.
Alright guys, it's actually been a few months since I did the installation of my leaf springs, so the truck is fully settled by now. Should be. It's been, like I said, few months. So once again, let's check how much we have over here in the back now. So we have about 9 inches, almost 9 inches from the tire to the fender, and from the ground to the top we're approximately at 42.5 inches. So that's not too bad. I mean, it's settled a little bit, but still it's higher than it used to be. So overall the installation process is not hard. It's just a little bit labor involved, and it's a little bit heavy, so if you have help of a friend, that's always welcome. But the ride quality is much better now. In the rear it actually does provide better suspension, and out on the trails the articulation is somewhat better. It's not as flat as it used to be, so I'm happy with that. Yes, it's a pricey upgrade, but it's very well worth it. because there are the leaf springs, they will be coming very flat. And if your truck is loaded, if your truck is modified, it has a lot of stuff, it's something that you have to consider for sure. So on this note, I hope you guys enjoyed this video, I hope you might find helpful, and as always, until next time, everybody, bye.